This is how you can make the best mirrorless camera even better. The Lumix S1II has had so much hype over the last month due to its crazy specs, but it's not perfect. So I created a rig that I've been using on commercial shoots, which supercharges this camera and makes it more of a cinema camera. So let's get started. Let's start with this cage. I went for this cage for two reasons. A, it's cheap, and B, it has this rail at the bottom, which allows you to quickly go from handheld to your gimbal in seconds. It also has a load of 1/4-inch threads, two cold shoe mounts, a NATO rail at the top for things like top handles, and the cage is pretty flush with the camera's body, so it's very nice to hold when shooting handheld. Next is this PL to L mount adapter from Mica. Now, the special thing about this adapter is it has built-in NDs, which has been an absolute game changer when you just whack on the lens, turn this tiny little dial, and it just saves you having to put on a filter, take it off every time you switch lenses. The only downside with this adapter I've found so far is it feels a bit tight. So when you put on a lens, you most of the time have to use both hands just to tighten the PL mount. I actually have to put the camera down just to put a lens on, which is slightly annoying, but I'm hoping that it's just this version of the adapter that I've got and that it will loosen over time. But other than that, it's a great adapter. So next are the lenses. So I use the DZO Vespid Primes and they're absolutely fantastic. They've got like this midway point between vintage and clinical. So they're still sharp, but they have like this nice bit of character as well. I mainly use a 40mm. I feel like it can just sit on the camera because it's between a 35 and a 50. So it can literally stick on your lens and you can shoot almost anything with that. And then my second lens is a 21mm for those wider shots. They're obviously manual focus, which doesn't utilize the S1II's incredible autofocus, but I'll show you how I've overcome that in a second. So this is the DJI Focus Pro system. And basically how it works is it uses this LiDAR sensor to measure the distance from the camera to your subject and then gives your manual focus lenses autofocus. It comes with this little side handle, which is very similar to that of the DJI gimbal, but obviously you don't have to plug it into the gimbal for it to work. And you control all your settings from here. And it will give your manual focus lenses, eye autofocus, subject tracking, and you can switch the manual focus control using this dial here. And the system is very fluid, like it's actually incredible. I would say the only downside is the wires, which I haven't actually plugged in yet, but they make the rig look a bit messy. And all you have to do when switching to a gimbal is flick this down and then just take that handle off and you're ready to fly it on a gimbal. Obviously it has to be a DJI gimbal like the RS3 or the RS4. Next up is this V-mount plate from SmallRig. Now, this has been on all my cameras. It was on my FX3 rig as well. And what I like most about this is the quick release plate. So you can slide your camera straight onto it, plug a little power lead in for your V-mount power, and then you're good to go on handheld. But to take this a step further, I've added a tripod mount at the bottom. So if you were locked in on the tripod, then all you have to do is slide your camera out and your V-mount battery stays here, so you can use it on things like a gimbal and then just slide it back on when you're back on the tripod. You can adjust all of the positions, so if you want to access your screen on the back, that slides forwards and backwards, and then you can obviously tilt that up and down as well. So there's lots of uses for this, and it will obviously follow whichever system you move to, if you move to different cameras in the future. So this is definitely a good investment. So the V-mount batteries I like to use are these FX Lion Nano 2s. And they are expensive, but no matter what camera you get, these batteries will work on it. These come with 2 D-taps, and what I use with the S1II is this USB-C port, and it will power it for days. It's got a nice little LCD screen to tell you how much battery you've got left as well, which is a nice little touch. But as far as V-mount's concerned, they are actually quite small as well and compact. Now, you could just shoot like this with the S1II's internal screen, but I personally like to use an external monitor. The monitor I like to use with this rig is the Portkeys BM5 3WR. A bit of a mouthful, but it's incredibly well built. It's mostly metal. It's got 2,200 nits of brightness, which is insanely bright. You can see that in bright sunshine. It's got SDI in, SDI out, HDMI, and I'm pretty sure you can actually control Lumix cameras from this monitor, but I haven't actually tried that yet. So because the LiDAR system is blocking where I would normally put a monitor on the cold shoe mount or the NATO rail, I've had to settle for using this magic arm from SmallRig. So basically I can mount it on any 1/4 inch thread on the cage and then attach the monitor to the other side, and then you can freely move the monitor where you need to. And to be honest, I didn't actually plan for this. I only realized there wasn't enough room for a monitor on the set. So I quickly grabbed one from my bag, but it's actually been very, very useful. So the biggest problem I have with a rig like this is the wires. They just are not sexy at all. But I've come up with 3 ways on how to hide them. So the first is to literally tuck them in to the back of the camera and hide them with your battery plate. So the battery plate will fold down, you tuck your wires in, fold it back up, tuck the screen in, and that'll kind of keep them in one place. The second is to simply use shorter wires. So most of these are 30 centimeters, which means they're not kind of going all over the place. And then thirdly is to use these little guys. These are called sprigs. So you would screw them onto your cage and then you can feed wires through them. So it keeps multiple wires going in one direction so you can hide them a bit better. So let me know what you think of this rig. I'm still working on it, but I just love the image that it can produce. I'll be breaking down the commercial that I used this rig on very soon, so keep an eye out for that one. As always, everything in this video is linked in the description below, and I will see you in the next one.